gates opened, and Marcus Kane stepped into the arena knowing he had approximately 4 minutes to live. That was the average survival time for humans in the Crimson Pit. He'd done his research during the 3 days they'd kept him in the holding cells. 4 minutes of terror, then death, then the crowd's roar of approval as another lesser species proved its inferiority. The sand beneath his feet was red. Not painted. Stained. 40,000 Valenti filled the stands, their pale violet skin seeming to glow in the harsh arena lights. They screamed for blood, his blood, in a language his translator rendered as a constant stream of contempt. Human. 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 They made it sound like a curse. Kane rolled his shoulders, testing the weight of the weapons they'd given him. A short sword and a shield, both designed for Valenti proportions, both slightly wrong for human hands. Deliberate, probably. They wanted a show, not a fair fight. Across the arena, 3 gates began to rise. His opponents emerged one by one. Cathari gladiators, 8 feet tall, 4 arms each, bred for combat over generations. Their carapaces gleamed like polished obsidian, and their mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. 3 of them. 1 of him. 4 minutes suddenly seemed optimistic. Citizens of the Eternal Empire. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena. Today we witness the judgment of the pit. The human criminal Marcus Kane, captured during his cowardly infiltration of our sacred borders, will face the consequences of his species' arrogance. Criminal. Right. He'd been a diplomatic courier, carrying peace proposals from the Terran Accord. The Valenti had responded by arresting him, executing his crew, and throwing him into their gladiatorial games. Diplomacy at its finest. In the Imperial Box, we are honored by the presence of High Executor Sirith, daughter of the Crimson Dawn, she who judges the unworthy. Kane's eyes found the Imperial Box. She was impossible to miss, taller than the others, her violet skin marked with golden ritual scars that caught the light. Her eyes were solid black, reflecting the arena like dark mirrors. And she sat on her throne with the stillness of a predator, conserving energy. High Executor. The one who'd ordered his crew's deaths. The one who'd sentenced him to this spectacle. Their eyes met across the distance. She didn't look away. The horn sounded. The Cathari charged. Kane had trained for years in close combat, had survived engagements that should have killed him, had developed instincts that bordered on precognition. None of it mattered against 3 opponents who were faster, stronger, and specifically designed for killing. He lasted 6 minutes. Not by fighting, by surviving. He used the arena's terrain, the pillars and pits and obstacles designed to make combat more interesting. He let them chase him, let them get in each other's way, let their eagerness become their weakness. When he finally made his stand, his back against a pillar with nowhere left to run, he had already killed one of them, a lucky strike to the nerve cluster at the base of the neck, and wounded another. The crowd had gone quiet. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The remaining Cathari circled him, more cautious now. The wounded one was bleeding from a gash across its thorax, and its movements were sluggish. "You fight well, human," it said, its translator rendering the words in flat monotone. "Better than expected. I've had practice. It will not save you. Probably not. But I'm going to make you work for it." They came at him together. Kane blocked, dodged, countered. Every technique he'd ever learned flowing together in a desperate dance of survival. He took wounds. A slash across his ribs. A blow that cracked something in his shoulder. A cut above his eye that filled his vision with blood. But he kept fighting. And when the second Cathari fell, another lucky strike, this one to the joint where arm met thorax, the crowd erupted. Not in anger. In something that sounded almost like appreciation. The final Cathari backed away, reassessing. In its eyes, Kane saw something he hadn't expected. Respect. "You should have died minutes ago," it said. "I get that a lot. If I kill you now, they will not remember my victory. They will only remember your defiance." Sounds like a personal problem. Cathari made a sound that might have been laughter. Then it raised all 4 arms in the traditional gesture of surrender. The arena fell silent. "I yield," the gladiator announced. "This human is proven worthy. To kill him now would dishonor us both." For a long moment nothing moved. Then, slowly, Kane's eyes found the Imperial Box again. High Executor Sirith was standing. "The pit has spoken," she said, her voice carrying effortlessly across the arena. "The human lives." Crowd's roar shook the foundations. They took him to a medical facility, not back to the cells. That was the first surprise. The second was the quality of care. Valenti medicine was advanced, and within hours his wounds were closed, his bones knitting, his body recovering from trauma that should have taken weeks to heal. The third surprise came in the form of a visitor. "Leave us, High Executor Sirith," commanded the medical staff. They obeyed instantly, filing out with their heads bowed. Kane watched her approach from his bed. He was too weak to fight, too injured to run. If she'd come to finish what the arena hadn't, there was nothing he could do about it. "You should be dead," she said. "I've heard. The pit has never yielded a human survivor. In 300 years of games, your species has been consistent in its failure." We're full of surprises. She circled his bed slowly, studying him like a specimen. I watched you fight. You had no advantages. No strength, no speed, no natural weapons. The Cathari should have dismembered you in seconds. They tried. And yet you survived. Not through power. Through... She paused, searching for the word. Adaptation. You used the arena itself as a weapon. You exploited their coordination. You turned their aggression against them. Survival instinct. Humans have a lot of it. So it would seem. She stopped at the foot of his bed. I ordered your crew executed, Marcus Kane. Does that not make you want to kill me? The question was delivered without emotion, like she was asking about the weather. Yes, he said honestly. It does. And yet you lie there making no attempt. I'm pragmatic. Attacking you right now would accomplish nothing except getting me killed faster. Pragmatic. She tasted the word. Is that a human trait? It's a survival trait. We've had to develop a lot of those. Sirith moved to the window, looking out at the cityscape beyond. The Valanthi capital was beautiful in its way, spires of crystal and metal reaching toward a purple sky. But Kane couldn't appreciate it, not knowing what had happened to his people in its shadow. I inherited the arena from my father, she said. And he from his father, back through 17 generations. The Crimson Pit is sacred to my people. It is how we prove our superiority, how we remind ourselves that the universe belongs to the strong. By killing prisoners who can't fight back, by demonstrating the natural order. She turned to face him, or so I believed. Until today. What changed? You refused to die. Her black eyes held something he couldn't identify. You stood against everything we threw at you, and you refused to die. And when the Cathari yielded, when a warrior bred for combat acknowledged a human as worthy, I saw something I had never seen before. What? Doubt. He said it like a confession. I looked at you bleeding and broken but still standing, and I doubted everything I had been taught about your species. About the natural order. About the purpose of the pit itself. Kane sat up slowly, ignoring the protest from his healing wounds. My crew were good people, he said. They came here with offers of peace, and you killed them. Yes. I want to hate you for that. I should hate you for that. Yes. But I've seen that look before. The doubt you're talking about. He met her eyes. It's the beginning of change. And change is worth more than revenge. Sirith was quiet for a long moment. I survived her planet's deadliest arena. She dismantled it the next day, she murmured. That is what the historians might write, isn't it? I don't follow. The pit ends tonight, Marcus Kane. I am going to tear it down stone by stone if necessary, and everything it represents will be buried with it. Your people will revolt. Some will. Others. She smiled, and it transformed her face into something almost human. Others have been waiting for permission to doubt. I will give them that permission. Why? Because one human survived your games. Because one human showed me that strength without purpose is just cruelty. And I am tired of being cruel. The demolition of the Crimson Pit began at dawn. Kane watched from the balcony of his new quarters, a guest suite in the Imperial Palace, because his status had shifted from prisoner to something more complicated, as construction machines tore into the ancient arena. The crowd that had gathered was divided. Some wept. Some cheered. Most simply watched in stunned silence as 300 years of tradition crumbled into rubble. There will be consequences, Sirith said, joining him on the balcony. She wore simple clothes now, not the ceremonial armor of her office. It made her seem younger, more vulnerable. The Council of Elders is already calling for my removal. And I have 17 legions who are loyal to me personally, and a fleet that controls the major trade route. Her smile was sharp. They can call for whatever they like. You're risking civil war. For what? A gesture. For change. She leaned against the railing, watching the arena fall. My people have been stagnant for centuries. We conquered, we subjugated, we built monuments to our own superiority. But we stopped growing. Stopped learning. Stopped questioning. And you think tearing down an arena will fix that? I think it's a start. She turned to look at him. You asked me yesterday why I was doing this. I gave you an answer about doubt and change. It was true but incomplete. What's the complete answer? I watched you refuse to die, Marcus Kane. I watched you fight with nothing but will and desperation and some quality I still don't have a name for. And I realized that I have never fought for anything. Not really. I inherited power. I exercised it. But I never chose it. And now I'm choosing. For the first time in my life I'm deciding what kind of ruler I want to be. Her black eyes held his. I want to be the kind who tears down arenas. Kind who admits when her people have been wrong. Kind who can look at a human and see a person instead of a lesser species. That's going to be a hard sell to the Council of Elders. I don't intend to sell it. I intend to demonstrate it. She straightened. I am proposing a formal alliance with the Terran Accord. Trade agreements. Cultural exchange. An end to the border conflicts that have killed thousands on both sides. Kane stared at her. You're serious, completely. Your people will think you've gone insane. Some already do. The smart ones are realizing that insanity might be exactly what we need. She extended her hand, a human gesture, one she'd clearly studied. I need an ambassador, Marcus Kane. Someone who understands both our peoples. Someone who can help bridge the gap I'm trying to create. I was a courier, a nobody. You were a survivor. A symbol. Her hand remained extended. And if you accept, you will be the first human to hold a position of power in the Valanthi Empire. That is not nothing. Kane looked at her hand. Thought about his crew, dead in cells beneath this very palace. Thought about the arena, now falling to ruin. Thought about everything he'd believed about the Valanthi and everything that was changing before his eyes. My crew deserves better than to be forgotten. Then help me ensure they're remembered, not as victims, but as the catalyst for change. He took her hand. The alliance took 3 years to negotiate and nearly fell apart 17 times. Kane served as the primary liaison, shuttling between Valanthi space and Terran territory, translating not just languages but entire worldviews. It was exhausting, frustrating, and occasionally dangerous. There were factions on both sides who preferred war to peace. But slowly, impossibly, it worked. The Treaty of Crimson Dawn, named for Sirith's title, and for the arena whose destruction had started everything, was signed on the anniversary of Kane's survival. Representatives from both species gathered in the ruins of the pit, now converted into a memorial garden. 3 years ago, Sirith said, addressing the assembled dignitaries, a human stood in this place and refused to die. He fought against everything my people threw at him, and he survived. Not because he was stronger than us. Not because he was faster, or smarter, or better equipped. He survived because humans possess something we had forgotten existed. She paused, her black eyes finding Kane in the crowd. Hope, she continued. The ability to believe that tomorrow can be different from today. The capacity to endure the unendurable because they refuse to accept that this is how things must be. The Terran delegation was silent. The Valanthi delegation was shifting uncomfortably. I have learned more from Marcus Kane in 3 years than I learned in 3 centuries of conquest. I have learned that strength without compassion is merely brutality. That tradition without examination is merely stagnation. That the natural order we clung to so desperately was just another arena, a cage we built for ourselves. She descended from the platform, walking toward Kane through the crowd that parted around her. I survived her planet's deadliest arena. She dismantled it the next day, she said, quiet enough that only he could hear. That is what they will write in the histories. But they will be wrong. Wrong how? They will think the story ended there. With the arena's fall. She took his hand. Something she'd done 100 times now, but still felt significant. They won't understand that the real story was just beginning. And what story is that? The story of 2 people who met as enemies and became... She paused, searching for the word. What are we, Marcus Kane? After everything, partners, he said, friends. Maybe something more, if you're interested in finding out. Her laugh was soft, genuine. A sound that had become familiar over 3 years of late-night negotiations, and shared meals and moments stolen between crises. I find myself increasingly interested in human customs, she said. Particularly the ones involving partnership. That's convenient. I find myself increasingly interested in Valanthi customs involving the same. Around them the ceremony continued. Speeches were made, documents signed, hands shaken across species lines. The universe watched as 2 civilizations that had been killing each other for generations chose a different path. But for Kane the moment that mattered was smaller. More personal. It was Sirith's hand in his. Her smile, rare and precious. The future they were building together, one impossible day at a time. 3 years ago he'd walked into an arena expecting to die. Now he was walking into something far more terrifying. A life where anything was possible. He couldn't wait to see what happened next.